94.3 WYBC, the rhythm of the city. Juan Castillo with you on the workforce. And I have with me here in the studio Doug Casey from the Connecticut Commission for Educational Technology. He's the executive director. And we're here to talk about the internet. I mean, it's more important than ever to have good internet. And the state is running a campaign to let families know that there are internet plans affordable for all families. So, Doug, talk to me a little bit about what kind of services you have available, but also from your perspective, like how important is internet?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me this afternoon, Juan. It's a pleasure. So, yeah, this is a really important topic, and my focus has been on education, on getting kids connected to the internet. But there are benefits to the entire family. When you connect a student to the internet at home for learning, you also light up the entire household for things like telehealth, so that you can go to the doctor without having to walk into a crowded waiting room, or you can research benefits for state programs or order your groceries online. There's so many different aspects of being online that people don't even necessarily think about when they think about just the internet. Sometimes they think about like entertainment and streaming, and that's all fun and everything, but there's so many aspects of being online that really make it critical way before COVID, and now even more so. So think of it not just as important for learning, important for working from home if you can, but also just as a public safety thing to keep you and your family safe at home by accessing all the things that you can do through the internet.
So tell me, I mean, obviously, internet is expensive to get the top tier, of course, but you don't need the top tier, especially if you just want to access Chromebooks and just your basic situation around trying to get information. So talk to me about what is the state doing to sort of help?
Ah, good question. Good question. So let's go back, right? Back in March when
Mhm.
COVID really hit and school districts decided to send kids home because it was safer that way. The problem with that, obviously, is how do you teach kids remotely? And a big shout out, God bless our teachers who overnight figured out how to do it. And maybe it wasn't perfect, but they did the best job they could to connect with students. The problem is we had this digital divide before COVID hit. And so we had really tens of thousands of students who would go home every day and didn't have internet. So you send these kids home now, as you said, with a Chromebook or with one of the 81,000 computers that the state purchased for students this spring. And some kids are online and talking with teachers, and some kids are offline. Like, that's just not fair. That's not equitable.
Mhm.
So the governor knew about this, right? He's got background in the internet and in connecting people, and before he became governor, and so he decided to put $43 million into this Everybody Learns initiative to really close that digital divide and get every kid connected at home. And so the plan was, let's work with our cable partners who have provide access across the state. And so we worked with 5 companies to put these agreements together and just said to them, look, if we identify those families, will you connect them? And so that's where this whole plan came up with. And for the past few months, we've been working with our school district leaders to say to them, hey, which of the families do you know of that should be online that are not? Which students don't seem engaged? Could there be a problem there? Maybe they're disconnected from the internet. They're not logging into their courses. They're not on those Zoom meetings with their teachers. And so we worked with our district partners, got those student names, and made sure that there could be a connection to whatever apartment, house, wherever they live, and made sure that that connection was going to be stable, and then got the information out to the school districts, to the families to say, hey, there's a free internet connection for you for the rest of the school year. We don't want any student disconnected and missing out on remote learning. It's hard enough when you're at home or back and forth between school and home this year, let alone if you're not connected to the internet. So the big picture here is we knew that the critical components to keeping kids engaged were having a computer and having an internet connection. And we put the resources together to address every student's need in the state.
That's great. Now, folks can get in contact at CT.Gov/GetConnected to find out about the affordable packages that are available. And what else would you recommend in terms of, how can folks, really access this kind of information besides that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in terms of those essential conditions, right, getting online and getting a computer, we have worked with our school district partners to get the word out directly to families. We've told the families that you may be hearing from the cable providers. We've given out vouchers. There are different flavors of this depending on where you live and which carrier services your area. But we've sent out lots of communications directly in through our school districts. But the takeaway that I would say right now is if you have a son or daughter in the public schools in Connecticut and you need internet, do one thing: contact your school. Just ask them, tell me about the programs, tell me about what's available to me. They should know how to help you. Their tech department has been all over this and working right alongside the state for the past almost 6 months on this initiative. So the one simple go-to is, yes, contact your school and ask them about these programs, and they should be able to help you.
Very good. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on board today. This is extremely important information. A lot of the schools are going back to remote learning. Very important for our community. Folks should not, be not granted an education just because they can't be connected. So this is fantastic. Doug, thank you and your staff and the state and the governor for what you guys are trying to do. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Juan, and thank you for the service that you're providing to this entire community.
Absolutely. Juan Castillo with you. This is The Workforce on 94.3 WYBC, the rhythm of the city.